the piece is basically based on memory and how memory degrades and how it's affected by by new memories are affected by old memories, and old memories are maybe influenced by new memories. And so the memory is always in fluxes in a way. We lose memory, or somehow memory gets distorted for some reason. And so here in this piece, the memory is represented by sound. So we collect sound memories of places, different moments, and we're manipulating these memories in kind of an artificial way. So basically the function of the piece is that in some circumstances it will record something, and then it will play it back. So it will always continue to collect new sounds, new memories in each space every day where it's installed, and in this sense, it's a kind of a living thing that it always mixes the new memories with the old memories, and it accumulates and layers all these sounds that are past and that are present. So the important thing about the sounds is that they are accumulated from each exhibit where the piece is shown. There are actually even some sounds that were at the very beginning when we started working with the piece, and so even when there are some sounds that we hear from when we were building, installing the piece, for example, somewhere in some space, maybe even here, we're testing the piece, and of course it will record some things, and we keep those sounds anyways. So the sounds are, the playback of the sounds is kind of, is random, but it's a controlled randomness in the sense that we privilege the more recent sounds. So the older sounds will be played less and less. However, this is only in terms of how the algorithm selects the sounds. But the thing is that when the piece is recording something, when the recording is triggered, it is very likely, and like it's almost 100% of times, the piece is already playing something. So it's recording itself along with the new sounds. And so there are some sounds that, although they are very old, but they make their way into the recording, the successive recordings. And so in that sense they are degraded, because every time they are recorded in a different space, they have been already manipulated, so they're constantly changing. And so they're old sounds, but they're new. It's like the new memory of an old memory, type of thing. So there are all these layers that happen. That very often there will be some sounds that already contain many different sounds from different times of the installation, and in some cases it just becomes kind of a noise, a very thick texture of a lot of different sounds that have been accumulated, and that's fine. That's the purpose of it, and so it's some of these things are completely we cannot control, because we don't really know which sounds will be playing while the thing is recording, and so it creates like a lot of happy accidents, and sometimes less happy too. The whole piece is made of 5. We call them nodes. There are 5 nodes. So each group of objects that has you know, those branches that are, you know, like it's a kind of a star. So each of those groups is one node, and each node has one microphone in the middle and 5 speakers around, and there is a motion sensor on the top. And each node is in a way independent. It's a separate channel of audio, so it's basically a 5-channel audio piece. And there you go. And so the sounds are always spatialized. So you could imagine that this piece is like in a box, and the sound sources are sort of floating. It's like an aquarium. And so when someone walks into the space and triggers the motion sensor, a sound is chosen from the bank of sounds, and it's pushed in some direction. And so then the sound will go and will bounce off an invisible wall, and it will sort of travel in some kind of a random trajectory. And so we will sometimes hear the sound move between the 5 nodes. The recording is triggered by a very specific algorithm that listens to the number of times that the different sensors were triggered. And so basically it is kind of a random as well, but the randomness here is provided by the visitors in the space. So the recording will not happen very often. Once in a while, it's something that is not really predictable. It's very hard to tell when a recording will be triggered. So it's kind of a surprise, basically, for everyone. And so it makes it maybe even a little more playful. So what happens actually is that when a recording is triggered, this recording will be played back right away, completely unchanged. So it's a memory that's fresh, that hasn't changed. It will be played back as it is, and it will be put into the bank of sounds. And then after that, we will not hear that sound again unchanged. It will be manipulated every time afterwards. And so there are a few simple types of manipulations. We wanted to make the memories sort of be distorted almost right away, just because very often an installation doesn't last very long time, and so at the same time we can provide a kind of a sonic environment that's rich and interesting in some ways right away. So the sounds are manipulated, they're played back at different speed. They're played like very short loops in the sound, and so if there is the sound that's this long, and they'll play short loops going backwards or forwards within the sound. And there is also kind of a granulization of sound, so making very, very short samples of the sound and playing a lot of them at the same time. And so that provides usually a fairly rich structure, a rich texture actually of the sounds, and so that's basically covers it, I think. So of course the lights respond also to presence of the visitor. So when you walk into a node, the lights will blink and the sound will be triggered. But also when the piece was not interacted with for some time, I cannot remember what the time delay is right now, but as the piece is sort of quiet and it's not, there is no interaction, it will fall into a kind of we call it a sleeping mode. And so it will just be there, and once in a while there will be a little light activity. From time to time it will play some sound. It's like a dream state, you know, so there is still a bit of brain activity, but things are sort of very quiet. And that also has the effect of calling people in. So if you see it from afar and it blinks, you go, okay, I'm gonna go and see it. And so basically the piece wants to be interacted with all the time. So I think that covers it.